Hey, Matt.
Nico, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Have you seen the news about Target and doing a pet show stream?
No.
I think they're gonna build a studio, and it's gonna be quite amazing with all their pets and stuff. And they're gonna be streaming from it, or like doing some sort of like video commerce event.
Everyone has pets. It makes complete sense. Where were they going are projected to do it?
Well, I bet it won't be in Springfield though.
With the Simpsons? That's Springfield?
Oh my God! Well, let's where to get started. All right, everybody. This is Nico, the host of the VCommerce show. I'm co-hosting with Matt, my good friend. Nick, I'm with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream and video commerce on your website, social media, email, SMS, wherever you are. The video is shoppable. So excited to be here. Today we have a great number of stories, and as I say, I'm with Matt from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. Matt, why don't you kick off and tell us what the show is about?
Yeah, Nico, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into the VCommerce podcast. We are a live chat podcast discussing today's big topics related to video commerce. What is video commerce? It's the storytelling platform that was created well over 50 years ago with TV infomercials, graduated to QVC and HSN, and has evolved into engaging direct response commerce through your TV, computer, tablets, and phones. So we try to cover the top 4 stories of the week. Hopefully you're educated a little bit, entertained, and go about your weekend with a little bit of knowledge maybe your neighbor or best friend did not know. So Nico, again, another big week in our world, video commerce world. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but TikTok is in the news. Shocker. And the article I read this morning, it was in Forbes, was about Amazon being the potential buyer for TikTok. So we've talked about this before. The U.S. government is suing TikTok, and TikTok suing the government back, the U.S. government, over just having a foreign entity run a social app in the U.S. And there's been a lot of discussions about it. It's a China-run company. ByteDance owns TikTok, and opening oral arguments start this coming week. So the deadline's in January. Biden set the tone, made a law about it, and they're going to talk about it starting this week. But the deadline for ByteDance to sell TikTok to a U.S. company is January. So the oral arguments are starting, and the article that I read was, could this be a good thing? Could Amazon owning TikTok be a good thing? Amazon's obviously the huge, big e-commerce company in the world. Certainly in the US, and TikTok is becoming the biggest social media influencer, etc. company, fastly growing, not even a year old. So the idea of this we've talked about before, but is it becoming more mainstream? The idea of Amazon owning TikTok.
Yeah, I think it's exciting, worrisome, everything at the same time, I guess, because Amazon is the number one website in terms, I think, of commerce traffic, at least before anyone else, right? So they're really holding that spot of like, this is where commerce happened worldwide. So they have this massive footprint worldwide. And then we know from a social media perspective, TikTok is definitely the one that is having the most impact in terms of traffic and stuff. So imagine combining those two number one into a super number one. So that's the worry part of it. It's exciting because on Amazon, you've got a bunch of merchants that are, trying to grow their ecosystem and all that. So it's really going to benefit a great number of merchants. The creator ecosystem, I think there couldn't be any better company than Amazon to really foster that ecosystem from a creator perspective, because at the end of the day, if you think about what Amazon is really what TikTok is really pushing out is the percentage of sales kind of model. for the creator more than some of these traditional like the Instagram or everything where it's a paper post. And so the affiliate network is really what's working very very well on TikTok. And so if you imagine that those two things getting together, and well, guess what? 2 weeks ago, Amazon was finally getting integrated with TikTok, and they are part of their whole flow, payment flow and everything. So things are certainly getting closer and warmer between the both companies. There's really a big opportunity there, right? Now we have to remember that Biden's also say, no way, we're not going to sell that, because if their goal, which was clearly laid out, maybe a year ago, was saying, hey, we want to compete against Amazon, um, does they want to give the key of the kingdom to to Amazon, really? Because if they want to compete against them, like, they're going to tell them their whole their secrets and everything. So I think it's an interesting thing. It's interesting to know. We have to remember that TikTok part that will potentially be for sales only for the US market. So TikTok will still have ownership over Canada and some of these other. But what we know is that I'm pretty sure a lot of regulators are looking at what's happening in the US, and they're like, can I do that too in my own country? So certainly a lot of trouble water for TikTok coming days. Really, I think it's a really fascinating. I have no idea if what will go one direction or the other, but it sounds great and it sounds scary at the same time.
Yeah, I know. The next argument or the next court date will be about Amazon having a monopoly by owning TikTok. I just like that Amazon's interested because it's a good for live streaming. Amazon, as I've kind of talked about before, it's not an easy business to work through as a company. It's becoming actually even more challenging for any companies. TikTok was kind of born on that small company dynamic, growing through the platform, and Amazon's just a mammoth company. So there's a lot of synergy there that really doesn't work, but obviously the TikTok orders coming through Amazon, that dynamic is peanut butter and jelly. It's perfect.
The other thing that I think is fascinating in this story, and that could be a first layer of maybe a broader conversation is happening on the back scene, right? We know that Oracle and Walmart were supposed to be the one like a year and or 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Trump had initially pushed the ban during his administration, and Walmart and Oracle were supposed to be the one that were going to take over the operation for the US alongside with TikTok. And so there was this kind of partnership at that time that was being talked about and things like that. At that time, the law, pushed back, and TikTok didn't have to do anything. So I'm pretty sure Walmart is looking at this and like it's probably also in the talk about this, because I will not see Walmart trying to say, oh, it's fine to get TikTok go to Amazon.
I'm still surprised. I think when we initially talked about this story, I'm like, oh, they're going to push this off until after the election. And now it seems to be happening.
I mean,
like there's conversations now. Like I said, oral arguments are starting next week, and the deadline's January. So I do understand that that's after the election, but it's still.
But remember that. Yeah, remember that the original document was 9 months to make actions, which they could extend to 12, which was going to be January. So they are at the end of the first deadline.
Right.
And they can probably file for an extension, so that's why it's going back in the news feed, is because that first deadline is coming up. So
because I haven't heard either candidate really talking about this lately, because it's going to alienate the young voter no matter which side you're on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's a fascinating topic.
I do too. I do too.
Anyway, well, the other story of the week, I found it quite interesting. It's a reality TV show that Target is putting together called The Pet of Tarjay. And basically, it's going to be a live creative commentary that's going to bring the social video commerce element of it. And so basically, you will have a show, some sort of a TV show with their 6 social media influencer, the way they call it. The color collab. So basically, it's going to be a couple pets that will be there, and then people will be able to comment, and then they will bring the comment on the stage and make this whole things very interactive. I found it very interesting. Obviously, first Target mascot is a pet, right? So this white and red pet. But it sounds like also, like as we are all pet lovers, or I mean, at least America is getting to be, and pet ownership is skyrocketing. Um, it's also a playbook that was that has already worked for IKEA in the UK, and we talked about this like several months ago, where IKEA launched a full live stream with Pet, and apparently it went quite well. So I found it fascinating that Pet is now the new Kardashian in some way.
Yeah, I read it in your newsletter this morning. The Pets of Tarjay is the reality TV style series that Target's creating. This has been a conversation for a long, long time about kind of incorporating commerce into entertainment television. So pets are huge here in the U.S., as you said. It's fun. It's a fun dynamic. It kind of makes sense that, pets are one of the most viewed things on social media. So it all makes sense for Target to be kind of creating this type of deal. And all these, like we've talked about it before, all these big retailers are getting into entertainment where they really have no place in before. And now they're going where their audience is. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting too.
It's really cool what you say, right? Like, though, I mean, I think the notion, I think if it's something that says, right, there's no more like entertainment and commerce. Those are like, I think what we're seeing, and this is something we've been preaching for many years, is that, with example like Mattel going from being a toy company to a media company, and all those players, or even if you think about NBC Universal, what we talked about last week, right? They're a media company going a retail company with all their influencer and their marketplace and all that stuff, and going live and everything. Everything gets blurry, and everything's become like all company are media company now. And I think it's really interesting, and the junction of commerce and media is just inevitable, and it's just growing, and there's like more proof everywhere.
Yeah, there's no bigger example than Barbie last year, the hottest movie, not ever, but a really hot movie in 2023. And it was basically about a doll, Mattel's most infamous doll. So Target getting involved in this is not really too much of a surprise. How good the show is going to be and how much engagement it gets, that's going to be kind of a big indicator of how well it's produced and how well the Target customer seeks it out.
Yeah.
Another story, we talked about this again before, and I love how we go back to things because we're obviously on to something when we talk about it here on the VCommerce podcast. But discounting, discounting is an overlooked kind of dynamic in trying to engage with your video commerce customer or e-commerce customer. So the story was recent data shows a surge in promo code usage. Retailers issuing 31% more discount codes in the first half of this year compared to last year. So that was by Simple Codes, according to the Simple Codes survey. 38.6% of the shoppers reported using these codes more frequently, and almost 60% said the usage stayed the same. So value is key. You have to give them a point of purchase reason, like do it now, impulse purchase, and discounting is the number one reason in my book on grabbing that customer's attention.
Yeah, I think I really like that. I think the idea of like, I think also we talked about the fact that the economy is not doing so well. People are looking very, with big eyes to their wallet, and when they go to the retail store, they're like, "Oh my God, everything is increasing and everything." We talk about inflation. We talk about, like it's on the news everywhere, and so I'm not surprised that people are trying to get more value out of their dollar. And coupon exists. I think there's a lot of time. The thing with coupon is like you have those coupon, but you just maybe don't use them or don't organize yourself to use them or anything. I found myself, like being more on the lookout of coupon coming from the mail and everything. So I think it's just like people are just trying to drive more with a little less. So
you walk into a store and you've got them. Like they walked in, they came out of their way to come into your store. That's a whole different dynamic than e-commerce and VCommerce. They're passers-by. They can come and go as quickly as a second. So you have to grab their attention. Obviously, it has to be a great product, the presentation if it's video commerce. has to be engaging, but the value, what kind of discounting or what kind of value are you offering that customer to get her to purchase the product right then and there. You can't really afford for her to go away. You put it in your cart, all that kind of dynamic. We've read about that. Cart abandonment is a big problem in e-commerce. So discounting is just, I can't emphasize it enough. As much as a vendor can, they should play with discounting in their whole strategy with e-commerce.
Yeah, I love that. Well, the next story that I wanted to bring on is talking about discounting, live shopping, and media and all that. I don't know if you saw, but basically, there is the 2024 MTV VMA, which I still have really hard time understanding what VMA stands for, right? The Video Music Award.
Correct.
But basically, there is something going on quite interesting. So there is a company called ShopSense.ai, which basically is like an AI powered lens. So you can take a screenshot of an image, and then it will suggest a couple products that are related to that. So we probably all have used somewhat in our life Google Lens. I think Amazon just recently launched a lens as well, and that ShopLens.ai is also one of those things. So you can take a screenshot, and I think what's happening is like they have this new partnership with Paramount and CNBC and some of those other platforms, where I'm assuming the whole idea is that during the show, people will be incentivized to actually download the Shop Lens, the Shop Sense, and then be able to scan some of those clothes that people are wearing and be recommended some suggestion of shopping. So I found it interesting. It's live shopping in a way, because obviously the VMA is live, but it's leveraging AI technology. There's not the social element of it, but I found it quite fun and quite interesting. As an interesting dynamic and an interesting spin-off of video commerce in a way.
Yeah. I don't, do you know what how MTV started? So MTV and VH1 are the same companies. It started by showing music videos. Like, that was the whole idea of MTV. It was huge in the 80s, obviously. Huge. MTV doesn't play any music videos anymore. I'm amazed the station even exists. VH1 is a takeoff of MTV just for the older generation. This is just another award show. But I love the commerce inserting into the whole dynamic. So the Oscars, as an example, like another famous award show, they used to come in gowns and black tuxedos, and it was very formal. This is about entertainers and music execs, music singers and things like that. Fashion is a big deal. If they start selling what they're wearing and selling what they're talking about, adds a whole different dynamic to award shows. Award shows are bad enough, generally speaking, but now you're going to add a commerce element to it. That's not really bad, because all these entertainers, whether they want to or not, are influencers. Yeah. And if they're going to influence their audience who are tuning in for this show, then they could sell something. Mm-hmm. So to your point, everything's blended together now with the Target story and with this story and other stories. It's just where we are in 2024.
Yeah. So we're soon in the Minority Report, where we all we're gonna wear glass and have a sensor that tells like you can shop this and do all that stuff.
I bet it's down coming. There. It's close.
It's coming. Yeah,
no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Well, I don't have a special shout out for me this week, but there's something that I've heard twice this week by pretty sizable brand and merchants, and it's something we've talked to quite. I've talked. I don't say quite at length, but I've talked quite a bit during the podcast that is published on Tuesday. It's community commerce, and actually, I was at Future last week, which is a show in New York, and one of the followers that is actually on the show, Portia, is actually watching us, and so hi Portia, and I saw her there. But what's very interesting was it was not the opening talk, but the second talk. Someone was talking about community commerce and how they leverage their community to drive revenue. That company is very special. They were driving 40% of their revenue from 4% of their customer. So it's pretty amazing when you think of it this way. But this notion of community, and the whole talk was about community commerce and what they do to engage their community, which is their main shopper basically. And so I don't know. I'm just thinking that, it's been second time I'm hearing community commerce. We know it's been something that's been pretty big in China. It's like the new trend right now. It's community commerce. It's beyond live shopping. It's community commerce, and we know it's AZ16 has been putting some big blog on. That's what they are looking to invest at the moment, at least on the live shopping element is past. They're trying to invest in community commerce. So those guys are pretty good at looking at future trend and investing at the moment where no one is looking at it. So I just found it interesting that this is coming. I don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, how it's going to play out, but I just want to put a word out there that uh, yes, we talk about video commerce. This is a space we both are in, but the next frontier is community commerce, and how do we get into that?
Yeah, and this is a hot trend, obviously a hot word, an overused word already, but it's something that's been going on for QVC and HSN. Talk about their communities in a different way, but it's the same kind of thing. It's a dedicated customer, a dedicated audience that trusts you. So you build trust, you build a community. You build a community, there's opportunity for commerce. So I think you got, another point that we've always made about, educating your consumer. Don't look down at your consumer. Give the facts, give the information that you need to make a considered purchase, all that kind of thing, or impulse purchase. All that kind of thing goes hand in hand with building a community. So it is interesting. You heard about it twice. The word community in my world has been overused a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how much traction it has.
Yeah, I think people have been community has been something that people have been talking, but the fact of like really thinking community commerce and pairing the two together, I think this is a notion that I think, because like community, everyone has some sort of sense of what their community look like, or for a lot of people, they're thinking their community is their influencer, like they're following. Sorry,
Yeah.
which is very different to me. But I don't know. I just feel that hearing that from those larger organization and brands, and I'm curious to see what's next to unfold on that. Anyway, great episode again. Thank you, Matt, for being here. We are here every Friday at 11 a.m. on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We are also on the Live E-commerce podcast that we're publishing there. Please comment. Tell us if you like the show. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And then we will be seeing you again next week for another episode.
Bye-bye.